Hey my lovelies, welcome back to my channel once again. My name is Uche. If today is your first time of seeing my video, thank you for stopping by. You are highly welcome to my channel. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for your love and support. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to make this lovely dress on your screen. If this sounds like what you're interested in, keep on watching, and at the end of the video you find it helpful, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you want interesting tutorials like this, do wait to hit on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload videos like this. Don't forget to like, share and comment, and let's get started. Here are the fabrics that I made use of. I have this pattern crepe. I have it to be about 2.5 years, and also I have this plain crepe which is 1.5 years, but I ended up using just 1 yard. So I'm going to start by cutting the upper part of this dress. I will go ahead to fold my fabric into two. To know the amount of the fabric you will fold, divide your hip measurement by 4 and add your stitching allowance. So I'm going ahead to mark my chest line 8 inches, as you can see. Placing my tape also on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark my bust point 10 inches. The next line I'm going to mark out is my waistline. So this dress is going to have a bust dart of 2 inches. Because of the bust dart, the difference of the front and the waistline is going to be 10 inches. Okay, so the front waistline is going to be 17 inches, while the back will be 15 inches, which is a difference of 2 inches. By the time I stitch in the dart, the bust dart on the front piece is going to fall, the waistline is going to fall back to 15 inches. Okay, so hope it's understood. So after marking the waistline, I will go ahead to mark out my hip line 25 inches. I will go ahead to connect it. So here is my shoulder line, here is my chest line, here is my bust point, waistline and my hip line. Okay, so I'll come over to my shoulder line. I'm going to divide my shoulder measurement by 2. I'll also mark out my shoulder measurement on my chest line. I will connect the 2 points together into a straight line. I'm going to come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and connect. So if you like, you can first of all mark out your neck weight before you connect it, but I'll be doing that later. Okay, so I'll go ahead to divide my ram measurement. Okay, so on my chest line, I'm going to divide my bust measurement by 4. I will also mark my bust measurement divided by 4 on my bust point. I will connect the 2 points like so. On my waistline, I will divide my waist measurement by 4 and add 1 inch for that. I will go ahead to connect like so. And then on the hip line, I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 4 plus. I will connect it with the curved part of my ruler. After that, I'll come over to my bust point. I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. I'll mark it all the way to the hip line, and I'll go ahead to use my straight ruler to connect it into a straight line. To take my dart, I'll come down by 1 inch from the bust point. This is to avoid any form of pointiness around that bust area. And on the waistline, I took ½ inch on both sides. I will go ahead to connect it like so. And from the hip line, I'm going to go up by 4 inches. I will go ahead to also connect it like so. So that is all for that. I'm going to go ahead to take my bust dart. So from the bust point, I'll come down by 2 inches. Like I said earlier, I'm using a bust dart of 2 inches. If you want, you can use 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Then from the bust point, I went out by 1 inch as well. Like I said earlier, this is to avoid any form of pointiness around the bust area. Okay, so after that, I'm going to go ahead to take my stitching allowance all around. We'll go ahead to connect them together like so. So I'll go ahead to find the midpoint of what I have from the shoulder to the chest line. I will curve out my armhole. So normally we will come in by 1/2 inch, but because this is a sleeveless dress, I don't want my arm to be too curvy, so I went ahead to connect it like so. Okay, I don't want my armpits to be too curvy, so this is what I have. And that is all for the drafting of the front piece. Okay, so remember that this dress has an asymmetric that is going around from the waist area to one side of the hip. Okay, so for that I'm coming down by extra 2 inches. Okay, because I want the side that will fall around the hip area to be 2 inches below the hip area. If you want, you can maintain your hip line, but I want mine to fall below the hip line by 2 inches, so I want her to mark down 2 inches. Okay, and after that I will go ahead to cut out. So remember to add 1/2 inch around the armhole area, okay, for stitching allowance, and also 1/2 inch on the shoulder for stitching allowance as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to take my neck width and depth. For the neck width, I'm going to use 2.5 inches. By the time I turn the neckline with 1/2 inch, it will fall to 4 inches. Okay, and for the depth, I'm going to be making use of 2 inches. I've gone ahead to cut out 1/2 inch before. I came down by extra 1.5 inches, so I'll go ahead to cut it out. So when I'm done doing all that, I'm going ahead to notch all the lines like so. I notch my bust point line, my waistline, and my hip line. Okay, after notching it, I'll open it up and go ahead to extend all these lines. You can see the notches I made that reflected on the other side of the fabric. So after that, I will go ahead to fold it into 2 again and turn it to the other side. Everything I did on the other side, I will repeat it here. Here's my bust point, my waistline, and my hip line. So I'll first of all mark out my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. I will connect into a straight line. On the waistline, I will take 1/2 inch on both sides. From the hip line, I will go up by 4 inches. I will connect, and from the bust point, I will also come down by 1 inch and connect. Okay, so from the bust point line, I'm going to come down by 2 inches for the side that I also came out by 1 inch, and I will connect. So that is all for that, as you can see. So I'll go ahead to stitch the dart. Okay, go ahead to stitch the dart like this. As you can see, I'm going to stitch it to the end. So after stitching it, I'll also grab the waist dart and stitch. So guys, please do well to follow what I did. Do well to mark out all your darts so that it will be easy for you to stitch. Okay, just follow what we marked out and stitch. I will stitch everything and I will keep it aside. Let's work on the back piece. So here's another fabric folded into 2. I've gone ahead to mark out my zipper allowance of 1 inch. Okay, I will also mark out my shoulder line. So the first measurement I'm going to mark is my waistline. Like I explained earlier, my front waistline is 17 inches while the back is 15 inches. By the time we stitch the side dart, the bust dart that we have on the front piece, the side is going to fall back to 15 inches. Hope you understand. So I'll go ahead to mark out the 15 inches. By the time you stitch the bust dart on the front part, okay, after stitching it, the side is going to fall back to 15 inches and it will make both of them to be equal. So to mark out my hip line, I brought back my front piece. I'm going to measure what I have from the waist to the hip line. So follow exactly what I am doing. From the waist to the hip line, I'm going to measure what I have and I'll go ahead to mark it out. So after marking it, I will also roll it across, and I'll also mark the 2 inches I marked below the hip line where the asymmetric is going to fall. Okay, and I'll go ahead to mark from my shoulder to my chest line 8 inches. I'll connect across. I'll also mark my bust point line from my shoulder to my bust point line, 10 inches. I'll also connect across. So I'll come over to my shoulder line. I'm going to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2. Also place it on my chest line, and I'll connect the points together. So I'm going to take my bust measurement divided by 4. I will take my waist measurement divided by 4 and my hip measurement divided by 4. Please do wait to add your darts allowance on the waistline, okay? So I'm going to add my dart allowance. I did not add it earlier, so I'm going to add it 1 inch, and I'll connect all the points together. So remember that all the measurements I marked out is after the zipper allowance, okay? After the zipper allowance. I'm going to go ahead to take my nipple to nipple measurement. From the bust point, I'll take it all the way down, and I'll go ahead to connect into a straight line. So from the back hip line, now I went up by 2 inches, and I took ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg. So I'm going to go ahead to connect upwards directly to the bust point, and also connect downward like so. I'm going ahead to add my stitching allowances, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is to curve out my armhole. I will go ahead to mark out my neck width. So the front and the back is the same, 2.5 inches, while the depth also is the same, which is 2 inches. I will go ahead to connect it like so. And coming over to the waistline on the zipper allowance, I'm going to go in by ½ inch. This is to remove any form of zipper bulge, okay? I will come down from the waistline by 5 inches and connect it downward, and also take it upward like this to the chest line. As you can see, I'll go ahead to cut it out. So remember to add ½ inch around your armhole and ½ inch around the shoulder area. So this is it for the back piece. Everything I did here, I'm going to replicate it here, and after that I will stitch my darts down. After stitching my darts, this is what I have for the front. So at this point, don't take your ironing for granted. Make sure you press all your darts down to give it that flat look, okay? And this is it for the back. I used a gather stitch to hold the zipper allowance together, okay? And this is what it looks like on the right side. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place my front and my back piece together, and I'll use my pin to hold it together. After holding it, I'm going ahead to highlight my hip line, okay? This is my hip line. I made the line visible. So after that, I'll turn my piece to the back part, okay? Remember that this front and back are facing each other, right side to each other, okay? Which means the front piece, this is the upper part of the front piece, this is the upper part of the front piece, okay? Is facing the back piece directly, okay? So I'm going to determine where I want the asymmetry to fall, okay? For me, I want it to fall on the left side. So what I will do is, from the right side, I'm going to come down by 4 inches from the right side of my waistline. I'll come down by 4 inches. I will go ahead to connect it to the other side. So here is my dart leg. I'm going to use this curved part of my ruler to connect from this point to the dart leg like so, and then I'll use the straight part of my ruler to connect from the dart to the other side like so, to the 4 inches I went down by from the waistline, okay? Hope you understand. You can also use a straight ruler to connect it from one side to the other. So after that, I'll go ahead to cut it out, adding ½ inch for joining the down part to it. And after that, I'll remove my pins and open it up so we can see. And this is what I have for the back, and this is it for the front. You can see that the asymmetric is falling on the left side. So here is another fabric that I'll be using to cut out the facing. I've placed my front piece on it. I'll trace the neckline, the shoulder and the armhole, and also the side, stopping where I have the bust dart. And after that, I will remove the main piece. I will go ahead to give this down part a curve. Okay, please don't cut it straight. If you cut it straight, it's not going to give your bust free space. Okay, it won't allow your bust to sit well, so do well to follow what I did. Okay, so this way you can see what it looks like. This way your bust is going to sit perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to open my front piece. I will place it right side facing right side. I'll go ahead to turn my neckline and my armhole. So after turning it, you top stitch the lining part, also top stitch the lining part of the armhole as well. I'll keep it aside. So another fabric is folded into two, and I'm tracing the back neckline, the shoulder, the armhole, and also cut into the bodice. Okay, so you can cut this back straight, okay, because there is no bust around the back piece. So I place it right side facing right side. I'll also go ahead to turn the neckline, top stitch, turn the armhole, and also top stitch. Okay, I'll do that and I'll be back. So guys, after stitching, you can see how neat and beautiful it's looking like. You can see. Okay, so this is what I have. I top stitch both on the armhole and on the neckline. So for the hem of the facing, I'm going to use my hemming gum to finish it up and stitch the both together. Okay, so for the back, I also turn my armhole and my shoulder and my neckline, sorry, and this is what I have. I'm also going to hem the edge of the facing with my hemming gum, and I will join the shoulders of the front and the back together. So let's work on the down part, which is the gathered part of this dress. So here is my fabric, okay, and I have 2.5 yards like I stated earlier. Okay, so 2.5 yards for the width or the wideness, 2.5 yards for the wideness. Why for the length? You know, crepe normally comes by 60. Okay, and this is it for the length. Crepe normally comes by 60. This is what I have. So if I say let me use the length to cut it, when I fold the length into two, I have 30 inches, and it's not going to be enough for the length of my gown. Okay, so the length of my gown is 60 inches. If I say let me use the length, it's not going to complete the length of my gown. So what I will do is to minus my half length from the length of the gown. My half length is 15 inches plus the 4 inches I came down by from the half length, which is 19 inches. So when I minus it from the 60 inches, which is my gown length, I have 41 inches left. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to measure out 41 inches. I will cut it out. Here is 41 inches. I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. This is for the front, okay, for the front part of the gown, 41 inches. And for the back, I will also cut the same 41 inches. That is it. So this 41 inches is to complete the length of my gown. As you can see, it's going to be to complete the length of my gown. While this 60 inches is going to be the part I will gather to my waistline. Okay, hope you understand. This 41 inches is going to complete the length of my gown, while this 60 inches is the part where I will gather to my gown. Okay, and that is for the front and the back. I will go ahead to gather the bolt, and I'll bring it back to show you what I have. So this is what I have after joining the front and the back shoulders together. Okay, and for the hem of the facing, I've used my hemming gum to hem it, as you can see. So, and it's looking neat. You can see for the back. At this point, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please kindly do that and hit on the like button. Okay, so guys, to know the length of what we gather, okay, you go ahead to measure what you have here. So this is what I have for the front, and also measure what you have for the back. Okay, also going to measure what you have for the back. So for my front and the back, I have the same measurement. Okay, I'm going to gather the both separately with the measurement I have here, and this is it after gathering it. So I'm readjusting the gather so that it will fit in, as you can see. So I'm going to place it right side facing right side. I will stitch by 1/2 inch, and for the back as well, I'll also place it right side facing right side. So after stitching it, I also went ahead to mark out my stitching allowance. I will go ahead to join the front and the back together, and after joining it, I will hem the down part and also attach my zipper. I'll open up my zipper allowance and attach it as well. Okay, so if you have watched up to this point and you are yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly do that. Thank you, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell, like this video, share, and also comment. Till we see on the next one.